Welcome to my makeshift kitchen here at Keller Williams. I'm going to demonstrate and share with you the key differences between using a juicer, this is Omega 8006 juicer, and a blender. This happens to be a Vitamix, one of the key work horses in the kitchen. You can actually put a 2x4 in here and pulverize it to the fine, sawdust actually is a 2.5 engine, so it's really very, very strong and powerful. And I get people who tell me, oh, I'm doing my juicing and I'm using my Vitamix. Well, the key difference between using a juicer is that it extracts out the fiber. And what you get with that is you get just the pure juice, which is fabulous. When you're doing a juice, and the reason why in phase 2 we recommend that you do juicing is because you're actually pre-digesting the juice before you're drinking it. That means the fiber, the body doesn't have to digest it to break it down to get to the juice. The juice is just being drunk. So when you actually have some juice, you want to make sure that you have enough of the greens that we talked about just a moment ago, about having a lot of leafy greens. And then the other difference with the smoothies and blended soups is that you have the pulp, and that's going to be the key difference. Now there are benefits to having both. The beautiful part about when you juice, it is pre-digested and you drink the juice, basically it's like a direct transport into your cell. There isn't any kind of digestion that has to go along with that. So I recommend doing both. I juice every single morning, and I'm going to give you some of my ultimate favorite quick and easy tips. I'm not actually going to juice for you today, but I'm going to show you what I do. One of the key things when you, in preparation for doing your juice, is to get the freshest possible produce that you can find. And it's really important that you change up the types of produce that you use, so you're not using the same thing day in, day out. Because just like anything, produce also has these phytochemicals, and you don't want to have a buildup of all those chemicals, because Mother Nature is amazing. As we heard Caroline and Calvert talk, the body is amazingly designed that toxins are kept the furthest part away from all the key organs, and that's in all the fat and tissue. That's why sometimes people who gain weight aren't really overweight. It's just the buildup of toxins that your body needs to shed out. So the body and human nature, and nature is really amazing because nature has those phytochemicals that protect the plant. So if you overeat any plant, it's going to potentially become toxic for you. So you want to change your produce around. And I believe that Frank took a picture of my tips for juicing. So I'm going to try to incorporate some of those tips in my presentation. So over here, I have a tray. I love these little restaurant trays that I've purchased, and it makes my life a whole lot easier, because I like to call this mise en place. It's a nice fancy French word for just having a place for everything. And you'll see, just like with this cleanse, if you're prepared and you have things in order, it's easy to get things through in a quick and efficient manner, like cooking once and eating 2 or 3 times, as I heard from one of the participants a little while ago. So what I do is I go out, I go to my favorite places to pick up my organic. I really try to do organic, pick up my fruits, vegetables, and other things. And what I do is I go home and I have these amazing bags. So what I generally do is buy enough for 8 servings, 8 days, or if you have a partner and you want to make juice for your partner in the morning, which I believe many of you participants have a spouse, is to prepare enough so that way you don't have to do it on a regular basis. So go shopping once, come home, and what I do is on my countertops, I'll open up 8 of these baskets. 8, why? Because it's an even number. Okay, so if you're going to have a head of celery and you want to use it for 4 different servings, you just have to cut it in 4. Okay, so it's a nice even number. So I open them up, I put them out on my counter, and then what I'll do is I will separate the produce, and I'm going to just open this up and just show you what I do, and show you what's in my goodie bag. Okay, so what I'll do is I will take the bags, line them up, and I'll start with the cucumber, and this is just what I do, and I'll stick a cucumber in each of the bags. So I'll put it back in the bag, and I'll put a lemon. This one happens to be a little bit larger. I might cut it in half, and then the day that I'm going to use it, I'll cut it in half and use the next half the next day. So I'll put that in the bag. I'll also put my ginger, and all these different, it's like having your own little pharmacy, because both the cucumber and the lemon are very alkalizing. We talked about cancer and other diseases can't live in an alkaline environment. So once you add sugar to your diet, that's going to create a more acidic response. Same thing with meat. I'm not proposing that you all become vegetarians. It's a personal choice. I am a vegetarian, and I do eat meat and fish on occasion. It's not my normal stay, but I do, just because I feel better that way. But it's completely up to you. But meat is acid forming in the body. So you want to do is try to create as much alkalinity as possible. That's why we suggest that you drink lemon water every morning. It's going to help to create a more harmonious alkaline pH balance within your body. So ginger is really great for digestion. So it's great even if you peel it off and put it in hot water and you make some nice ginger tea to drink during the day. But it tastes really good in your green juice. So you want to put that in there. Then I love parsley, so this is just half a bunch of parsley. I'll put that in. And then I absolutely adore cilantro. It is one thing that I do use almost every single day. Cilantro is a chelator, and that's a real fancy word for it. Actually helps to go through the body and help clean out toxins and heavy metals. So it's a great chelator. So it helps to remove toxins and heavy metals from your body, and it smells good. A lot of people don't like it, so this is personal choice. You can have it or not. I'll slip that in there. Celery. Oh, here's my other lemon. This was a smaller one. I didn't see it in the bag, so I grabbed the second lemon. This I would use the whole thing, and I would just quarter it. And then I have some celery. The celery is great for a lot of different things, but what it's going to do is going to add a little bit of saltiness. So when you're thinking about any kind of recipe, you want to have the balance between a little bit of sweet, sour, pungent, and salty. Those are the key flavors that you want to incorporate in any type of cooking. So I would put that in there. And then I don't normally use an apple, but what you would do is take the apple. Do not juice the seeds. The seeds have arsenic in it, so you want to not have the seeds. And one of the things that you can do is you can either use a core to take the core out with the seeds, or what I simply do is I cut it. I'll take my knife and I'll cut it here, 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 and here. And so what you have is just a square of the core that's remaining. And then I'll cut it small enough to fit into my juicer. I'm going to talk briefly around the different types of, different kinds of juicers that are available. So I'll put that in there. And I also recommend that you use some baby greens. This is mostly sunflowers. Sunflower seeds grow into these beautiful and incredibly delicious little sprouts that are phenomenal. They're loaded with protein, ounce for ounce. They have more protein than a prime rib or a T-bone steak. So I suggest that you look at maybe growing your own if you're interested, because you want to go organic, local, and if you can, grow it at home. It's really pretty simple to have your own little garden, and it doesn't take much time, and it's very inexpensive, because this little container here costs about $8. It's a lot. So if I was going to put this, some of these sprouts in my juice, I would probably use about half of this. And they're a little difficult to get down to little spout, which I'll show you in a second. But you can add some of this, and I keep it in this container. To this, sometimes what I'll do is I'll add some really nice oregano, which is great for its antibacterial properties. You can use some rosemary or thyme. You can put all different kinds of things in your juices. You can juice pears, all kinds of greens, Swiss chard. The only thing that you don't want to try to juice are bananas and avocados. So they don't juice too well because of why? They don't have a very high water content. Okay, so I'll finish putting everything in the bags, and I'll take them and I'll squeeze out all the air, and then I'll twist it around tie them up, and then what I do is I have one of these trays in my refrigerator, and I'll just line up the 8 different stacks of my produce, and I'll take this over to my refrigerator, put it in there, and every morning I'll take 1 bag out or 2, depending if my partner's with me, and I'll juice it. It's really quite simple and easy and very, very fast. It's a great way to be prepared for that. And these are the green bags. They have a special process where they don't allow for the produce to go bad, and it actually helps to keep them fresher longer in your refrigerator. This is just one type. And this says, as you've seen on TV, so you can get them almost anywhere now. A few years ago, they were difficult to find. So that's down and easy on that. Now we're gonna move this over. And we're gonna actually do a little demonstration on our smoothie. So, but before we do, we're going to just talk a little bit about the different kinds of juicers that are out there. A juicer is a personal choice. You heard about Jack LaLanne? Yes, you can get the Jack LaLanne juicer for about $100. I do know, however, if you were to do a side-by-side comparison with the Jack LaLanne and some other model like an Omega, you're going to see that you might not get as much juice out of it. So that's one thing. You're going to have to, as you decide if you want to get into juicing, what are the criteria that you need, and if you'd like to have a little consult with me on what the best juicer is, by all means. I've tried them all. I have the Breville one that is a centrifugal, and this is where you have a high blade, a blade that goes at a very high speed. It goes round and round and round, and it has a pretty large opening. So the large opening means that you can take that whole apple and put it down the chute. But what's going to happen is that at that high speed, it tends to oxidize the vegetables, and that just means that it's revving up at such a high speed that it breaks down that cellular wall a lot faster, and the nutrition isn't as great as if you have something that's a single auger. So single auger is a fancy word for this little device. So you have the centrifugal, and then you have the single auger. And basically what happens is, when you put the food down the chute, the food gets trapped here in the auger, and it gets pushed around and pressed against the screen. So what happens is the juice comes out and the pulp come out 2 separate openings. So you'll have the juice, which will come out the bottom here, and the pulp will come out here. So you have 2 different catch trays, one for the juice with the screen that's going to take out any additional fiber that might not have been trapped, that might have not gone out the big chute with all the rest of the other fiber. And then you have the fiber that comes out there, and you can do lots of different things with the pulp. You can make crackers and do a number of different things. I tend to not use them because I don't like the way it all tastes all combined, but some people take it, they'll make soups out of it, like vegetable soup, or they can make a good stock. So let's see, we gotta put this back in. It's pretty simple to assemble and putting it back together. This happens to be an Omega 8006, and I like it because it does a really good job at extracting the juice. And if you're going to spend all your money, I typically, if I'm making 8 servings of juices, it costs me probably close to about $90 a week for just those 9, because I'm buying organic juices and I don't have a means for getting it at a wholesale price, just like you. So you want to, you might spend a little bit more for a better juicer, but in the long run, you're going to save money. It's kind of like the razor and the blade. You want to buy a good machine because all the produce that you're going to do, you're going to want to get the most out of your juice, most juice out of your produce. Let's see. We want to try to limit your ingredients to 5 or 6. You don't need to put everything in the kitchen sink into your juice. You think, oh, more is better. Well, rather than putting more in, swap it out so that way you don't get bored with it. Let's see. Drink what you make. So if you're going to make it, drink it. And if you're going to need to store it in a container where it's almost filled to the top, or where it is, so that way you don't have as much air, so it's not going to oxidize. Just like wine, you know, you uncork a bottle of wine, you want to make sure that if you're going to cork it, you use one of those special things to get all the air out so it doesn't make it go bad. It's the same thing with the juice. So you want to try to drink what you make in the day, or make it twice. Some people don't have that luxury. So you can put it in a mason jar and put a seal on it and put it into a dark place, like the refrigerator, and keep it chilled. Let's see, you also want to clean your juicer soon after you're done, because you'll see that the debris gets locked in there. And what I do is every about once or twice a month, I'll go and I'll use some really good cleaner on this. I use the same stuff that I use to clean my vegetables which is one of those veggie washes, which are citrus. Citrus is a great cleaner, so you want to just clean it up a little bit, but clean it right away when you're done. Don't let it sit, because it's also going to be a breeding ground for bacteria. So you don't want to do that. And all the good work of putting in juices in your body, you're going to just wreck that by having bacteria that you don't want to ingest. And you want to limit the amount of fruit when you're doing the juice, because we have that direct transport to the cell. So if you're going to drink like just pure apple juice or carrot juice or beet juice, which are all full of sugar, you want to balance that out with a bunch of different greens. Now, romaine is fabulous for doing that. Romaine also blends well with other things. It doesn't have a lot of taste. You can use spinach, which is also really mild, or you can go peppery, like with arugula. You have to be prepared that that bitterness that you would have if you had it that you're eating is going to be intensified when you go ahead and actually do the juicing. So there's just some thoughts, and play with it, have fun. You know, play with your food, and you know, enjoy and see what kind of concoctions you can come up with. So you can see in my little prep, I didn't measure anything. All right, I just know basically in that little bag that I showed you, I'm going to get probably close to 2.5 cups of juice, which is a lot of juice. And I like to include that as a part of my water intake. All right, so we have the juice. Now we're going to go over to blending. So juice is no fiber, direct transport to the cell, it's pre-digested. Pretty simple stuff. Now, when we go over to the blending, what we're going to do is I'm going to just move my Vitamix over here. You want to start, when you do the blending, is always put your liquids in first. One is because if it says like in your workbook, 1 or 2 cups of whatever liquid, now you can use plain water, you can use coconut water. This is just a brand that I was able to pick up at Whole Foods today. There are other coconut waters that are not processed, meaning they're still raw in their raw sense. This has been pasteurized, so it takes out some of the nutrition, but it's not going to be as costly as the other one. Remember we talked about good, better, best? This is the same thing. Water's great. This is another great thing. Or almond milk. You can make your own almond milk, or you can buy the prepared almond milk. Again, those are going to be pasteurized. So in your workbooks there, I'm going to make the wintergreen smoothie, and it calls for 1 cup of water or coconut water. And you'll see on your Vitamix, most containers have measuring lines. This doesn't have to be exact, so I'll just put about a cup in there. Calls for a handful of spinach. Probably use my gloves since we're going to have some of this. Now my fruits and vegetables, I don't wash anything that I put in the bags, because I don't want them to break down. Once you put the water in there and you put them in the bags, then they, you know how after a few days things start to break down? I don't wash it until the morning that I'm going to do it. If you want to wash it to be faster in the morning, wash it the night before and leave it in the sink. Don't put them back in the plastic bag. That way they're dry, which the water isn't going to hurt you, but you don't want to store them for a week all wet in your refrigerator, because then you'll just have a mess. It says 1 handful of spinach. Now I love spinach, so I would probably put the whole bag in if it was just me. So that's my baby spinach. It's been washed, and it calls for 1 pear. This is an organic pear. I'm not going to take the skin off of it, because this this blender's gonna pretty much take it down. So, I'm just gonna cut it. So there's some seeds in here. I'm just gonna pop those out. And you don't really have to break this down too much because of how strong this blender is. I'm just gonna pop that in there. Just gonna get all the seeds out. And then it calls for 1 banana.
Mm-hmm.
Banana is great because what bananas have are pectin, and it's going to give it that nice, luscious thickness that you're going to want. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to break this down first and then add that, because once you add it, it's going to start to get thick. And then at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and put this as a dash of cinnamon. I like cinnamon. So the reason why we put the water in the bottom is to get the blades going. And we're gonna just turn this on. Now, Vitamixes, like the other machines, there's a cost investment. This machine can cost up to $600, $700. Before you run out and buy either one of these, go on Craigslist and see what's available, because I just picked up a brand new Breville juicer that's been used twice. And this Vitamix from a person who has a small kitchen, she was going into doing all this with Ernest and went out and made the investment and literally used both things twice. This Vitamix I just bought, plus the other juicer for $250. So there are deals out there. People buy these things and say, I'm not gonna do this. So really, go out and shop around on Craigslist or eBay, because people buy them. Like how many of us, we go out and we buy the newest, fanglest thing, and then we buy it and then never use it. It's the same thing. So, and if you've purchased these, hopefully you'll see how easy it is and you're going to start to use them, right? So we're going to just turn it on, and we're going to walk the speed up. Comes with a plunger. Turn that back down to low before I turn it off. And the reason why is if you have it all the way turned up, guess what? Next time you go to turn it on, all over. I've done that a couple times. So you can see it smells good. And I'm going to take a little sample, see how it tastes. See how nice and thick that is? Delicious. I love the way it tastes. The green, you can really, so good. Cinnamon.
Banana.
Right level of sweetness, a little bit of that cinnamon. And I can taste the spinach because I love spinach. As a kid, I was abnormal. I'd beg my mother for cinnamon. Spinach. So there you have your smoothie. So yummy. I could actually blend it up a little bit more, which I am before I'm going to let the rest of the group taste it, because I can see there's a little bit of a little grip to it. So I want to blend that up a little bit. But I'm not going to hold you viewers up I'm going to get back to this and give the rest of the group a sample in just a moment. So we're going to finish up the content and come back. All right, so we're back. So we just shared with you how to do your green smoothies and your juicing, and those are options for you to go deeper into phase 2. One of the other options that we can go into is the lemonade fast. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. This is where you take water, cayenne, maple syrup, and lemon, and you combine it, and you drink that over a period of day. This is optional. Some people say, Linda, why do you even have this in here? And I'm like, well, that's a good reason. That's a good question. Normally, I would not have ever done it, but this juice fast actually saved my life about 11 years ago. And I stumbled upon it. I was going to massage therapy school, and my massage therapy teacher mentioned this, and I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed. And it quickly helped me to reduce my cravings and all other kinds of bad, unhealthy habits by just doing this and eliminating all the things that were causing havoc for my body. I did it over 21 days. I didn't eat anything. I'm not professing that you all do this. It's going to be personal choice. Even if you continue to eliminate the processed foods from your diet, you're going to be giving yourself a huge advantage. So even if you just take that step, so no matter where you are, there's no judgment at all. You are where you are, and I'm here to help you make new choices. So again, it's like that smorgasbord. You get to pick and choose. Just like you can pick and choose if you want to go and get a sauna, or if you want to go and venture into getting a hydrocolon therapy session. So the lemonade fast, basically the history behind it was developed by a gentleman by the name of Stanley Burroughs, and he found this to be the cure for actually an ulcer for his friend by combining these ingredients. And what they do is they actually help to reduce mucus in the body and help to eliminate the toxins. So it's just another way of cleaning out your system. The recipe is pretty simple. It's in your books. It's water, cayenne, maple syrup, and lemon. We want you to use fresh squeezed lemons as opposed to those little fake plastic lemons that are, lemon concentrate. You want to use the real McCoy, the real lemon juice. And a quick thing about lemon: if you're not big into green juices, or even if you found that this smoothie recipe, if you try it at home and it's a little bit too green for you, a little squeeze of lemon. Lemon will actually help to balance everything out, and it will take out some of the bitterness or make some of the greens taste a little bit more digestible so that you'll want to drink it. And I want to mention also that if you are going to be juicing, I'd like to say this, that chew your juices and drink your food. So basically what that means is to chew down. Digestion starts in the mouth. It's where we start to break everything down. That's why it's important to mix saliva when you actually drink either your juices or your smoothies, or even for this matter, the Master Cleanse. You want to start with the digestion in the mouth, and that way it starts to help to break down the food, and you'll be better at digesting if you do that. So drink your food and chew your juices. So just swish it around your mouth. And lemon, as I was just mentioning, lemon will help to cut anything. So if you don't like your green juice, it's more lemon in it. Not too much that it becomes so sour, but enough that it will help to round out the flavor. If you are doing a lemonade fast, you want to use a good grade B. Grade B maple syrup has a lot of vitamins and minerals in it, and along with, it's kind of sweet, but at least you're going to be getting some nutritional value, and this is where you're going to get your calories. So if you do decide to do this, speak to me, and if you have any concern at all, speak to a doctor before you start anything, okay? And this is where you don't eat anything during this process, and you don't take supplements. You're just really looking at eliminating things. And you must eliminate, even if you're doing a juice fast or just drinking smoothies, every single day you should have a bowel movement. And if you're not, normally, or if you're on this program or anything, you should be having at least 1 to 2, 3 bowel movements. They say that when you eat, what comes in, you should be able to have it come out the other end. And I hate to get into the goriness of all of that, but it's really important, especially if you're cleaning out the toxins. You want to get rid of the stuff, and the bowels are really key in doing that. Drink your weight in water, so you still want to be drinking your water. And you want to drink half your weight in ounces if you want to do the lemonade fast. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you do 50 ounces. If you weigh 200 pounds, you do 100 ounces. Okay? So roughly 8 to 10 ounces. You can do the math and figure out you need about 8 to 10 of those a day. So conscious start, conscious finish. Again, being mindful. If we start anything, it's all around being mindful and being prepared. Starting with a 3-day minimum, and support yourself where necessary. And if you start and it doesn't work out, that's okay. You can start again. I will tell you, just like if you do phase 1, you know the first few days are going to be the most difficult because you're breaking old habits and you're changing your taste buds and you're looking at food differently. And it's just like riding a bike for the first time. Once you get used to it and you figure out ways to make the shortcuts, as I've heard from some of you, it's a lot of preparation. You're right, it is. But once you figure out how to do the shortcuts, just like I showed you how to prepare your juices, this whole process to juice in the morning, every morning I juice. Nearly every morning. It takes me 10 minutes. And there isn't any excuse. Boom, I rinse the things off, wash the other things that I need to wash off, and within 10 minutes, I've juiced and I've cleaned my juicer. It's really pretty straightforward. Okay, so if you decide to do any of the juicing, be gentle with yourself, and when you decide to go off the cleanse, like if you do decide to do a 3-day juice fast, I'm going to talk to you a minute about an easier way for you to do the juicing, is to start to add foods back in gently, okay? So don't do a 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, however long fast, and then immediately go to Jackson's and have, you know, even if you have a better choice for what you're going to have, don't rush right into, you know, taxing out your digestive system, because a juice fast actually gives that system a rest. It's lovely. You'll be amazed at how much energy you'll have once you get beyond the first couple of days. It's pretty fabulous. So you could do phase 2 for as long as you like. You know, most people aren't going to make it to like 10 days, but if you want and you need the support, by all means contact me. Kind of talked about some of this preparation, preparing your veggies in advance, double and tripling your rice and quinoa, double the shake or juice recipes, but drink what you're going to drink unless you have it in a container that has little air and is refrigerated. Purchase frozen berries if they're out of season, organic preferably, and organic vegetable stock, and make sure that you have plenty of Epsom salt and baking powder. So let's take a quick side over here. Come on over here, Frank. So as you know, I brought with me some of my things today, some additional tools. Last week, I shared with you the dry skin brushing, and we heard from Calvert that it's good to do it before you say, if you do the sauna, to, you know, again, you want to do long strokes towards the heart, as I showed you last week. This is a great tool. It's invigorating, and it also helps to get the lymphatic system moving. It's that hydraulic system that helps to flush the toxins out. You could use this. You could do some bouncing on your mini trampoline, or your trampoline. If some of you have kids, you have a trampoline in your backyard. One of your next best friends is going to be the Epsom salt. As Caroline was talking about, or no, Calvert was talking about magnesium. Magnesium actually helps with the soft tissues, so like your colon, it really is essential for helping the colon with elimination. A lot of people, especially if people have Lyme disease, have difficulties absorbing magnesium. First off, we don't get enough magnesium, and secondly, it's hard to digest it, especially if you're ingesting it through food or some supplementation. What's nice that your skin will actually, this will get absorbed into skin, and it will be better utilized. So you put 2 cups of this in your hot bath. You can put some baking powder in there as well, and I like to put some of that lavender essential oil, which is another basic. You want to have lemon, lavender, and what's the other one? Peppermint? Peppermint, lavender, and what was the other one? Anyway, so you can put that in your bath too. It smells great and it feels great. So you want the magnesium. This is actually going to help you to eliminate, okay? So then last week I mentioned castor oil packs. This is a really high brand castor oil. You can pick and choose whichever one you like. So you buy castor oil, and you buy a wool flannel cloth, and I have mine all packaged in here. I love this. Basically, the castor oil pack helps the liver, and you heard from the ladies today talk about the importance of the liver and detoxification. And I generally cover liver information. Basically, what you want to do is try to help the liver out. The liver is the second largest organ in the body, and it does over 500 to 400 different jobs for you. It's really busy, and it's trying to get rid of the toxins on a regular basis. So what you want to do is you want to try to help the body to reduce the liver. And I don't know if you could see Caroline's eyes, but if you got clear into the eye, you'd see the whites of her eye, the scleroma. They're bright white. They're very clean. So if you look into somebody's eyes and they have some cloudiness in the whites of their eyes, that means it could mean that their liver is not functioning well. Same thing, you could look at like jaundice, the liver. It affects the color of your skin, the color of your eyes. It turns things yellow. So it's really good just to do this every now and again. And if you are going to go deeper, you can do this. It's pretty easy. And what I do is and you can go online and you can see other videos for this. This is my cloth that I use, okay? And it has castor oil on it. Now, if I was to go ahead and use this, what I would do is I fold it this way, because this is going to fit right over here on my body. So you can see that's about the length of my torso. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it down. I'm going to pour the castor oil on to my cloth. And then what I do is I take this and I put it right around my waist. And then you could take saran wrap, but I don't like saran wrap because of all the chemicals are, in the plastic. So what I use is unbleached parchment paper. So what I do is I just take a piece off about this long, and I'll put this on there like that, and then I put this on my body, and then I take a really tight t-shirt or one of those little body glove things, and I'll put that on like up to here, and then I put this on my body and I pull that down, and it keeps it all in place. So you're not going to get the castor oil on your clothes because it can stain. So I like using the unbleached parchment paper, but you can use plastic wrap and wrap yourself up if you like. And then what I take over my t-shirt is then I'll put, this is a really ancient heating pad. Don't laugh at me, but it still works. So I love it. I have sentimental value with this little guy. And then you just put that around and you just lay back. It feels so good. It's like you're giving your liver some extra TLC. Because one of the other indicators that the liver is toxic is like negative emotions. Anger happens to live in our liver. If you go to Chinese medicine, you'll see that if the liver is having issues, it's going to cause anger issues to come up and flare up. So if you're feeling a bit edgy, try to clean out your liver a little bit by doing the cleansing and other things. But even if you were just to do the castor oil packs, you'd feel like very calming, especially if you do the magnesium bath. I'm telling you, if you just do these once a week, you'll be a happier person from the inside out. And your body's going to be happy because you're doing really good things for yourself. If you don't happen to have a heating pad, which you probably do, maybe not as old as mine, you can use a hot water bottle, and you could just put really hot water in it. And what that does, it helps to open up the pores to allow for the castor oil to go in and soothe the fat liver. So those are some of my tips and tricks that you can use for your cleanse at home. So I'm gonna open it up for questions later for the people who are here. But to keep things moving along, we have a lot of content today. We're going to jump back into the presentation. So as we jump back into the presentation, we talked about some of the supportive services earlier with Caroline and Calvert. And if you're viewing this and you don't have Caroline or Calvert in your neck of the woods, by all means, you can go out and start looking for far infrared saunas or colon hydrotherapy. And if you are looking for colon hydrotherapists, look for, there are different systems. There's an open system and a closed system. and this is a big key difference. You could do both, they're both fine. Caroline's is an open system. That means you gently sit yourself onto her machine, and as she talked about being, the piece that gets inserted, you do that all in the comfort by yourself, and that's all fine and good. If you have a closed system, you typically have a colon hydrotherapist in the room who inserts that, and they actually monitor how much water goes in and when they flush you out. So there's some key differences between an open system and a closed. What's nice about Caroline's is you're in the room, you're by yourself, unless you ring the bell, she'll come in. If you have any problems, it's all safe environment. That would be true almost anywhere because they have to be trained. As she said, it's a grade level 2 medical device, so you really can't go wrong with doing the open system. The closed system, you have somebody there who's there all the time. It's just a matter of choice. So some people say there are more benefits to one over the other. I've done them both. Just to make sure you like the person who you're with. And don't feel embarrassed or ashamed or anything, because let me tell you, they've seen it all. All right, and I've seen and heard some miraculous comebacks from people who've been, really, when you put in your gut, if you put in a big hunkin' steak with potatoes and then you decide to eat your berries for dessert, guess what? Those berries are going to digest a lot faster than that piece of meat. So you have a lot of, things that can go on in the gut that can create a lot of gases. So, but don't worry, it's all safe. They're all professionals. So supportive services, we talked about the saunas, we talked about juicing a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can, if you decide to do the juicing, what you might be able to do, and then you have colon hydrotherapy. Here we have Calvert. She's already spoken to us. She's given us a couple additional deals. I'm going to get those out to you so that way you can start taking advantage of it. She never offered to me before a free trial for anybody, so I'm sure she'll probably honor yours as well. So, and your husband, So I told her there are 10 of us. And just use the code LindaCleanse when you're registering. Sorry I didn't give that to you before. Now, I think, was it you who mentioned Puree Juice? Okay, so Puree Juice Bar, this is Amy Waldman. She opened up a juice location, and you can, Caroline, I introduced her to Caroline, so now there's a 4th place. If you wanted to do, and this says holiday because I used this back in November, which I haven't updated it, but they're looking at, they do a free delivery to Hotspot or Caroline's location, so that way they'll be delivered. You can do it for 3 days. If you decide to do it, say this week, and you're ready to do it, if you need to have your order in by Wednesday at 12 o'clock for delivery. I think it's either 12 o'clock Wednesday or Thursday for Friday or Thursday. I'll give you those details. But if you wanted to try to do a 3-day cleanse, they'll make all the juices for you and make your life a lot easier. Even if you just want to order, one juice for 3 days, they'll do that as well. You can order it and then pick it up at the same time when you schedule your services. So if you wanted to do a colonic, you could do that, or if you wanted to try the Hotspot. So I'm trying to make this as easy for you to try different things, because once you do and you see the lifestyle and you incorporate it, it becomes easier and easier, and you just feel good every day, even on those days when you're waking up at 4 in the morning and driving, because you're taking good care of your body. You can order through, I'll get you the ordering information, so that way you have that separate to this PowerPoint. And now we have, this is Caroline, you've already seen her, and if you saw this picture blown up, you could really see the whites in her eyes, is what I was telling you earlier, because she really has a very clean system in her eyes. And I don't know Calvert as well, since I just met her in the fall when I did this cleanse, and she became a part of my team. So anyway, so just use my name, and she's giving you $55 off, or $50 off, so your first time is $95. She gives you a consultation. The first time's a little bit longer, and you get a little bit more education. She's super professional at what she does, and is a really great resource. So just a couple reminders, if you haven't scheduled your one-on-one yet, which I think there are a couple people in the room who haven't, and the offer's still good if you want to do that. If you'd like more coaching beyond this, after you get your second one next week or the week after, I am happy to work with you in setting up a coaching arrangement. As you can see, I love to do demonstrations and food demonstrations, so I can come to your home, I can help you clean out your pantry, set up and organize your kitchen, take you to the grocery store, teach you why you want to shop the perimeter and not in the middle. So there are a lot of different services that I can help and provide for you after the cleanse, so you're not alone. You can continue to add good, healthy things into your routine. Make sure that you're doing your daily activities and self-care, prayer box, gratitude meditation, your breathing. Plan ahead. Always plan ahead. If you plan ahead, it's so much easier. And of course, gratitude. Super grateful. I'm really grateful that you're all here. I really am. It touches my heart to know that there's a little bit of a ripple effect, because I know that you're taking whatever information is right for you at this time, and to know you can come back and view this video at another time and maybe pick up a couple more snippets. It's not a process. It's not that you're going to get it now in the destiny. It's all part of the journey. And little by little, as we improve, we send out a ripple effect. It's going to be a positive influence on everyone. So I have a little poem here, and somehow in the translation from my back to this, it's kind of gotten a little bit out of hand. So I'm going to hand them out. If you would, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to hand it out to you folks, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. And I'm going to read it. This is a poem that I love. It's by Derek Wilcock. He's a famous poet. I love to read poems and other things that feed my spirit. Rumi is a wonderful poet. He's a great Sufi, with the hats, the swirling dervishers. He's written some of the most amazing poems. I happen to love this one. It's called Love After Love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome. And you say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread. Give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored. Take another who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit. Feast on your life. So this can mean a lot of things to each one of you. Might mean something different. So it's just food for thought in your own journey and what's important. I think one of the first and most important things is self-love. If you take the time to love yourself every day, any one of the daily practices that I'm recommending, you're going to feel better about yourself. And when you do, you're going to be less likely to be fulfilled or satisfied by somebody else out there. You're going to find your own self-nurturing and truly love yourself. It means that you can love that much more. And I think that we can all agree that, what the world can use is a little love, a little bit more love. Love makes the world go round. Love is really the essence of everything. And I look at these things that I do every day that might take a little bit of time, but I know I'm doing the right things for myself. And I know if I do that, then I'm going to be better for the next interaction I have with someone who might not be in the right place, so that I can better engage, or try to. And I know when I don't, you can get me off track. So I offer these things up. I wish you success wherever you are. If you want to continue to do phase one, if you're just starting phase one, if you want to get in and do the juice and get your order in by this week, contact me and let me know, and we'll get you juicing. So juice on. Thank you.